But I tell you, you mentioned AI though. I've done a lot of work the last 15 years doing like concept drawings for people. Somebody will call me up like, okay, I've got a 72 Plymouth Duster, but I want to know what it would look like as some sort of a JDM style, type of thing, Bozozoku style or like, could you do a board track racer, but I have an old BMW, but put a modern this on it? Like I would come up with these big concept drawings. And now you can just hop on AI and just be like, AI, show me a, Buick Grand National with an El Camino rear end on it, and boom. And it might have, 6 headlights or something you got to tweak on it, but it's going to decimate what's already taking a dent out of my income, but it's going to decimate traditional art and songwriters and writers and copywriters and radio hosts and everything. And, people are like, oh, but it's free. I'm like, yeah, you're just teaching it to do us better than we do. Like, stop doing that.
No. Yeah. So someone made a clip with AI. Tricks. Like someone made a clip of this show with AI that we listened to. Someone linked it to us in a Hangout. So Kyle, what's new with you?
Yeah, I've been talking back and forth with our boy Finster, and apparently he got a private DM from, I'll say, a fan with deep pockets. It was an offer for a very large sum of money to convince me and only me to go on another PKA survival trip with Finster alone. He'd offered to pay for the tickets, travel fees, and allow us to choose any location we wanted to camp at. I'd also get half the money, and I'll tell you, the amount Finn showed me he was offered was tempting. Hell, for that amount of money, I'll do anything for the amount he offered.
That's pretty fucking funny. This guy obviously sounds like a fucking psychopath. If he's offering strangers on the internet to go into the woods, it wouldn't surprise me if his whole intention was just to get you both alone in the woods so he could go out there with a machete and a hockey mask just to fuck with y'all for his own content.
So Finn would fly from the UK to the States and go on a trip with you for a large amount of money. How much money are we talking?
I probably shouldn't disclose this because Finn hasn't yet, but I'll just text it in the chat. Oops, accidentally posted one of Finn's nudes. Ignore that.
Holy shit. I could buy a lifetime of charcuterie boards with that.
That's insane. That has to be a joke.
And it was wild how the cadence of all of us was exactly right. And like they weren't real conversations we had. They just sounded like it. And I was like, oh, damn, this is actually pretty good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I had a buddy might do a similar thing.
Stop to that.
Oh, exactly. And it picks it up so quickly. I had a friend of mine fed it about, I don't know, it was 500 or 600 lines of, there's like 3 of us in this little Facebook chat thing. And we just, talk shit to each other and all that. He fed it about 500 lines of that. And it spit out like what it was like some conversation with us. And it really, one guy's always a little more scatological with his humor. The other guy's a little more, technical. I'm good with like one-liners and like it was like identifying our personality types in our responses. And I was like, unplug that and kill it with a stick, man. Like that's, I mean, not get all like Skynet Matrix on you, but like if nothing else, even if there is no evil intent.
Estaba viendo tú, realmente disfruté, por cierto, vi un par más, aunque el tipo de IR contra el tipo de Akai es como meterse de lleno en un subreddit sobre un pasatiempo nicho que aún no entiendes y como después de llegar a la página 3 te dices, ya entiendo los chistes. Es como que no puedo creer que esté pasando. Vi el primer episodio y pensé, bien, ya entiendo. Así que chicos de IR, usan bufandas y les gusta hablar de estadísticas y los chicos de acá son de vamos a disparar cosas baratas y divertirnos. Esto es simplemente una compra por impulso, como que pensé que apenas empecé a buscar justo después de ver ese video. Me preguntaba, ¿qué tipo de 8K podría comprar si realmente quisiera un 8K? Así que quería preguntarte.
I heard some lady on TikTok or something one day was talking about, how, she wants computers to like do the dishes and file her taxes so she can spend more time doing art and music, not have computers do art and music so she's got more time to do the dishes.
They should come up with a really common machine that does the dishes for you.
Yeah.
I think we could call it a dishwasher.
That's a great idea.
Precisely. But all of it is, it's the creative people. I mean, and I'm sure I'm just looking at it from that, relatively myopic viewpoint. I'm, accountants, everybody else out there. But, when you have AI that's writing songs, let me hear Baby Got Back as if Elvis performed it, to be able to just speak that into a microphone and have it spit out of there. A friend of mine, I have friends who are authors. I have friends who are speechwriters, people who are copywriters and ad writers, people who host shows like this, people who do art like me. I'm kind of hanging on to the sculptures at least, because at least as of yet, AI is not plugged into some 3D printer that can kick out some sculpture of mine.
Oh,
But
they'll do that eventually.
it's only a matter of time. Yeah. And
it just needs one of those matrices that that thing you put on your head with all the pins, and on the other end, like your face pops out. It just needs one of those with a lot higher resolution, right?
Yeah,
they'll figure it out. I'm okay with I really do like the songs part of it. Like I heard an AI song of Homer Simpson singing "Zombie" by the Cranberries, and it was so funny. I was like, okay, I'm good with this kind of AI. This part of AI doesn't seem like it's going to hurt us.
Yeah, but that's just like a shadow of it, though, because I remember like 25 years ago, I think it was like South Park did like Cartman singing "Come Sail Away" by Styx, which was just hysterical. But but just as it becomes more and more, so okay, the premise you just talked about, to have Homer Simpson doing this Cranberry song, like look at somebody like Weird Al Yankovic, who has brought untold joy and laughter to millions of people over the last 35 years doing all these spoof covers. Well, do we need Weird Al Yankovic anymore? If I can just be like, hey, give me a honky tonk version of Boys in the Hood, which actually somebody's done that. But, either way, like it all just, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist.
I immediately pictured that. It's a different kind of hood they're wearing.
There was a band called the Gourds, I believe, did that. They did Gin and Juice and Boys in the Hood.
Light up your torches, put on your mask.
This is an intense song.
Hang on, I'll be back.
So no, I want you to go down the conspiracy side of it. That's always fun.
Well, conspiracies. It's so easy to get lost down that rabbit hole. I'm sure a lot more of them than we would like to think are true, but and then sometimes I look at a lot of them thinking like, if you were doing something sketchy, the best way to disguise it would be through a bunch of conspiracy theories that are close, but not quite.
Disinformation.
Yeah,
exactly. So at that point, people are going to think, I've heard that before. It's all, it's the aliens and Bigfoot conspiring to, get my PIN number, like that'd be a good way to disguise it. But from a conspiracy standpoint, I think it's maybe not even a conspiracy in that there is willful intent. It's more like, have y'all seen WALL-E? The little Pixar movie with little robot. Beautiful movie. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite silent films. Like the people in that movie that come in like the second act, they're all in these hover chairs. They're like babies. They can barely walk.
Watch that movie on a cruise ship.
Yeah, exactly. So like they just like I'm less than a conspiracy, like as in there's some higher power gonna get us all enslaved by AI. I just am concerned that like humanity in general is just going to, or at least developed humanity is just going to slowly get lazier and lazier and stop being creative. Kind of like with, and I'm guilty of this, all the shorts and reels and TikTok, all these little short form video content. I don't want to sit through a 10-minute video anymore that, for a while it was, I'm not going to watch an hour-long documentary on Iwo Jima. I'm going to watch a 10-minute fat electrician video that's just as funny. And then now those are suffering because there's a 60-second short somewhere. I'm just kind of concerned if we in general are just going to get so used to just going, Chat GPT, find me something to eat for dinner. And it'll do it. And we're just going to become the people in WALL-E. We're just going to stop thinking. We're going to stop breaking rules.
We probably will.
Woody had a math question today. He's got an aquarium. He needed to put some formula in it and get this copper level to a certain point. And he had some of the factors, but he didn't know the answer exactly. He actually did, but he wanted his math checked
because I could kill it.
And he plugged it into, I think, Bing's AI, and I was on my end driving, plugging it into ChatGPT, and both of them were so wrong that it would have killed anything and everything that was involved with the program had lives been dependent on the dosage of copper we were putting in that tank. And look, I gave him an answer. I was like, this. And then I looked at I was like, no, not that. What? But I believed it. I was so trusting in Chat GPT that when it spat out that wrong answer, I didn't even consider that the answer.
I thought you were joking with your first answer. I didn't know that you had used AI. So that it basically the question was like, hey, 30 milliliters raises 20 gallons to 2.5 parts per million. I need to raise 10 gallons by 0.1 parts per million. What are you getting? And Kyle, instead of 30, put back like 28. And I'm like, oh, he's fucking with me, because that doesn't pay. If 30 does 2.5 and twice the volume of water, no way is 28 it.
Yeah.
And Taylor, my wife loved your joke. He said he specializes in train, departure, and arrival time word problems and didn't even try.
I'm glad.
Yeah, but the AI failed on both extents with that, and I plugged it. I like copy pasted your question, and it still got it very wrong. But
I rephrased it until Bing was like, "I'm no longer allowing you to ask me."
Damn, like, Bing getting lazy.
Yeah.
Now I also saw
I just want to answer you. I didn't know that.
AI's like covers so many sort of different types of tools, but I saw the one that just sort of makes videos, and they compared last year's version with this year's version, and last year's was the one of the guy like eating spaghetti, and his fingers were like melting and stuff, and we were all laughing at it.
Yeah.
Yes, Will Smith. And this new version, it's like, I thought that was a video of an Asian man eating noodles. I thought that was a real Asian man eating noodles. Like, you can't tell anymore. The fingers aren't going Squidward and like scooting off.
You can see like one
of them.
You can see like a sixth knuckle under hand as he's eating, and that's it.
You said that because
Asians
I wasn't 100% sure that they weren't tricking me with a video.
Yeah,
that someone didn't film their Asian cousin and try to convince me that's how far AI had come.
I wonder if at some point there'll have to be like a disclaimer on certain videos to let you know that it's not a real person, because somebody eating noodles is pretty innocuous, but I mean, think of like the celebrity porn fake potentials with this sort of stuff. Artists, public figures, people would have to find some way of like controlling their image.
My mind goes to politics, right? I just instantly have my opponent on a racist tirade, an unpopular position, who knows what. Maybe I have Trump in the back room secretly being pro-choice, whatever would cost him votes, and put it out there.
Oh, yeah. It's no longer like guys driving around with fake Type R badges on their car. Like you can just completely synthesize anything.
If I worked for the Trump campaign, that's what I'd do. I would,
of course.
I would leak backroom audio of him speaking lucidly, clearly, commandingly, intelligently. Like, he'd drop the whole this, that, and the other act, and he'd be like that. He'd be on the money. He'd be Bill Clinton personified, like talking about the Middle East.
Ronald Reagan.
Oh, and then you leak that. Oh, that'd be great.
If anything, the politicians are hoping AI gets better faster, so that if like a video of some politician giving head on the Lincoln Memorial, then 5 years comes out, they're like,
Lindsey Graham,
what
alone.
Are you crazy? That was not me. It looked like me, but it wasn't. And it's like, oh, Lindsay, I guess we have to believe you now, you old
old ladybug.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what the evolution of this will be. At some point, will AI get good enough that it will be demanding, voting rights or demanding to have an identity? Could there be some point where some AI is running for office because, obviously, maybe it doesn't have a physical body, but people are so used to interacting with these different AIs that at some point are they going to want, this gets into like, this is kind of turning into like, that Philip K. Dick, do androids dream of electric sheep, which I believe turned into Blade Runner. Yeah. At some point we used to worry about, are androids going to get so good they're going to want to have rights in their own identities. We don't even need the body at this point. Like, it's just this ghost in the machine in a way of something. So I just wonder if at some point it'll just be 3 AI candidates running for each other. I don't know.
I read a book that opened with this premise. You know how you have like yourself cryogenically frozen? Yeah. He did that, but he had himself stored as a computer program. And then later on, when they awoke the program, he thought what he signed up for was to put himself on a body to live in the future, to watch his investments grow for, 300 years, etc. What he actually woke up to was that these programs that were stored became servants of the current generation of living people. And you could choose to serve them and perform their menial tasks, or they would just delete you. And that was what the choice that he woke up to.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a terrifying, harrowing position to be in.
I am also sometimes skeptical because I remember the Russians showed off their most advanced new robot, and there was a guy in a suit. And you know what I mean? And
this wasn't Tesla?
No. And then did Tesla do the same?
Yes,
I know China.
Yeah, dancing android.
Yeah. And then in China a while back, hilariously, and the most cute thing ever, the cute fake ever was those Pomeranian puppies they had painted to be panda cubs. And it's like, oh, we have so many panda cubs. And it's just like, oh, you know what? I'm not even mad. Look at those little fuckers.
Pandas.
Oh,
This is better than pandas. Like, give me one. Come on.
This panda bites. Is this the yappest panda I've ever seen in my life? I had no idea a panda would just stand in the corner of the carport and bark at its own echo for an hour.
This panda humps me constantly. I didn't think pandas were like this.
Oh, my
You're the
God.
best.